Yeah.
Good? Yeah. At the same time, I can make sure it's still on here. It is. Okay, we ready? Good evening, welcome everybody to the January 8th Board of Education meeting. We are going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. After the Pledge of Allegiance, I ask you all to please remain standing. Ms. Felice, would you lead us in the pledge?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now I'm going to ask for a moment of silence. Everybody please stand for former employee and community activist Nita Webb and former President Jimmy Carter. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I'd be remiss, the day after our last board meeting, I was here with Trustee Felice when we learned of the news that Ms. Nita Webb had passed away. For those of you who didn't know her, she was a very beloved community member, super active in our community. She also spent 40 plus years working for the district in different capacities. Over the last 2.5 years, I got to know her. She was a great support for me as a new superintendent and community member. And we were all just devastated by her loss. She really was a light in many people's lives, and I just felt it necessary to give her an acknowledgement here because she held a special place in my heart and certainly in the hearts of a lot of employees and people in our community. So I just wanted to give her due respect and say that her spirit will carry on, and just the kindness and the support we give our learning community. So here's to Nita Webb.
Thank you, well said. Okay. Moving on to the emergency exits. In the event of an emergency, please leave in an orderly fashion through the exit in the back of the room and the entrance, the exit, the door you came in through into the room. This is also a smoke and vape-free school district. Smoking or vaping is not permitted in the building or anywhere on school grounds. This is a hate-free and bully-free school district. Thank you. Moving on to item C, board consent agenda.
The administration recommends the approval of board consent items reflected in schedules C1 through C5.
Can I have a motion C1 through 5?
So moved.
Mr. Lillo, seconded by Ms. Felice. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimous. Communications and announcements.
Patience. All right, let's get to today's superintendent report. Hoping everybody was able to enjoy a nice holiday and Happy New Year. It's my expectation that 2025 is going to be a fantastic year, not just for our school district, but hopefully for everybody in attendance and for our entire community. I think it will be no shocker to say to the community here and people present that it's been really cold. So this is the first time I'll talk about the potential for snow and what we do in snow. I'd like to do it just as a reminder. But basically, our goal when we call snow days is to make those decisions by 5:30 a.m. There are several people, especially in our staff, that start their commutes by that time, especially the high school staff. So in the ideal world, we're going to try to make any types of communication regarding closing by 5:30 a.m. If there's a forecast that is 100%, which I feel is rare, we'll try to do it the evening before. So again, we always keep the sort of our families and staff in mind when we make these calls. It's one of the most stressful things that a superintendent needs to do. In terms of communicating the snow closings, typically a robocall, an email will go out to our entire community, but those are the radio stations and Channel 12 News, obviously, that carries the snow closings. We report to the community first, and then we report to the various news agencies about our closing. There's 3 different things that can happen. School's closed, it's a loss of an instructional day. We have a delayed opening, that's typically when it snows overnight, but we have confidence that our facilities can be cleared and the street can be cleared, so there's safe transportation to the schools. And rarely do we do an early dismissal. If there's ever snow in the forecast during the middle of the day, the logistics of an early dismissal is pretty difficult because while the high school gets out earlier, by the time you get the routes to the elementary schools, there's not that much of a difference in dismissal time. So typically, just as a general thought, we either do school closings or delayed openings. I'm hoping not to have any snow days, because after the couple of snow days we have built into our calendar, we start tipping away at vacation times. If there's an exorbitant amount of snow days, we consider going virtual. And I hate saying that because I know people have PTSD from COVID and hybrid learning, but it is an option that schools have, that if you have 4 or 5 snow days in one season, whether or not we close or we do asynchronous or synchronous learning, we do have a plan for that. Over the last couple of weeks since the last board meeting, I had the pleasure of attending a concert at Prince Elementary School, where Brendan Andrade, the music teacher, put on a fabulous show featuring the 3rd graders. There's nothing more joyful than hearing 3rd graders sing. I know Trustee Felice was there for the daytime performance, where staff participated in the 12 Days of Christmas, which was a lot of fun and very well received by the parents. I also got to attend the concert at Kramer Street with Ms. Stiritz. Did a fantastic show. Again, a lot of joy in the hallways, and again, if you're feeling down, just go listen to a bunch of 3rd graders sing. It's certainly going to make you feel better. I know Trustee DeLillo was there as well, so it was really enjoyed and a great time watching the kids sing. A little older, or the middle school concerts, I got to attend the first holiday concert featuring our 6th graders. There are 3 performance groups. That's the orchestra, band, and chorus, as well as the 7th grade band. And it really was a packed house. I always remark about how the sheer number of students who participate in our music programs. And this is a 6th grade and 1 7th grade group. But the auditorium was full. It was just as full for our 2nd concert featuring our 7th and 8th grade mixed groups, which again was another fantastic concert. I feel like each time or each year I watch these groups play, they get better and better. And not as they move up the grades. I'm talking about 7th and 8th grade sounds better each year. So it's I think we're making great progress. So a big shout out to Ms. Wasson, our music chair, and also an orchestra director, Sarah Bunk, Samantha Steenkamp, Chris Lochner, and Audrey Garcia, who participated in the middle school concerts. I also got to attend the Brookhaven Holiday Festival, which was held on a Saturday, which featured a lot of community members, some photos with Santa, very well received. A lot of kids were there spreading some holiday cheer. Big shout out goes to Mr. Grassi and Athletes Helping Others when they do their annual trip to Head Start to distribute gifts to the little kids. And a big shout out to Glenn McAvoy. I don't know if I should have outed him, but he's a Santa in the picture. And I had to do a mean mug because we're watching the kids to make sure they're good. So I helped Santa in that regard. But big shout out to all the athletes who participate in that endeavor. It was a lot of fun. I also got to attend a middle school volleyball game, which was a lot of fun and energetic. I had to mention this one young ace. I witnessed her get 10 aces in a row, which was pretty remarkable. So that was fun to watch, and the students got super excited. And for the first time, something I've been contemplating doing, I had met with some class of 2024 alumni. I'll picture here are Ella Steckel, Kaylin Schmidt, Kaylin Ciavata, Samantha DeLillo, Andy Pellatella, and Mandy Budress. This was organized by Samantha DeLillo, who was a valedictorian. In passing, I kind of mentioned I'd like to get insights from recent graduates so they could share their sort of experiences going through our school district in terms of college readiness. And they gave great feedback. A couple of takeaways, which I shared with my cabinet, but for the board's sake, is cursive. They all said they wish they learned cursive, and something that I didn't appreciate was their professor is writing cursive, and they have a hard time reading it. So that was an interesting insight. They did appreciate their research classes, AP seminar. They felt like we should really focus on a lot more writing assignments, where they're just free writing, note-taking, less worksheets. But they were really good and insightful. And at one point, I said, do you think that we give so much accommodations and help that we're enabling you in a certain way? And no, they said, you give us a nice, strong foundation. But yeah, so the feedback I certainly take to heart. I'm going to share it with Doyle and our instructional staff to see what sort of modifications we can make. I certainly am a proponent of minimizing the use of technology in classrooms and going back to old school note-taking, because one of the things they all shared about college, some of you guys are going to be experiencing this soon, is a lot of learning is done on your own. Professors go, they lecture, there's teaching assistants, but you really have to be trained to sort of seek out your professors or teaching assistants, and there's a lot of independent work. And so they said somehow if you can start sort of honing in on those study skills, those types of skills, that will be helpful for our students. Along those lines and thinking about the future, tomorrow we have our strategic plan update meeting. It'll be a community meeting. I know it sounds like a long sort of time, from 4 to 8 in the high school library. We did send out a roll email. We have about close to 60 participants, which I think will be great. And it's really looking at our district and looking at the direction we want to go. And it's going to be facilitated by Dr. Kevin McGowan. He's a sitting superintendent and was just voted National Superintendent of the Year. So I want to give him that accolade. That's happening tomorrow. It's open to the public in the high school library from 4 to 8 p.m. You can go to our website if you haven't registered. We just want to get an accurate head count so we're prepared. And finally, if you want to keep up, we have various social media handles in our district. The number of the media handles have increased in the last couple of years, sharing all the great things that are happening. A lot of the social media handles are student-led. But if you go to our website, which will be updated not soon enough, there is the community portal where you can subscribe to Blackboard Connect to receive district correspondence via email. Our social media links are listed here in this link, as well as the superintendent's corner, my contact information, and my 3 social media handles, which are Instagram, X, and LinkedIn. And that concludes my report for today. Short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go around the table and start with you, Lauren.
So before the break, I remember we were talking about the ELF letters. We got them all done, so that was nice. We also completed the holiday grams, so those were all sent to the elementary schools before break. There was a lot of participation in the Holiday Spirit Week, especially during Pajama Day. Civics Day is this Friday, and speaking like personal experience, it was really nice to work as a class to propose ideas to help better our school. I just thought it was like really nice. We're also looking to start our winter gear drive, which would involve collecting hats, gloves, and socks. We're looking into planning a Stay Awake-a-thon fundraiser for charity. So you stay up from I think like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the gym, and you just raise money for charity.
Don't teenagers do that every day?
Oh, yeah. So we're looking to plan a date for that. And in February, we're looking to plan P.S. I Love You Day again. So, yeah, it's really it.
Great, thank you. Ms. Felice?
Thank you. Just as the superintendent indicated, enjoyed the holiday concerts in December, and looking forward to the next round of concerts in January. Also looking forward to Civics Day on Friday. I saw that was on the calendar, so I quickly put it on mine. And looking forward to the strategic planning tomorrow night. Thank you.
Great. Mr. Lowell?
Again, just echoing, concerts are great. There is a lot of talent in the school. I also got to go to a middle school volleyball game, but it was the red-white team, so it was all Bellport. That was pretty cool. The kids, again, a lot of talent in that gym. Speaking to the 10 aces, yes, there are some really good servers there. One thing, we went to Brookhaven's PTA meeting last night. A very positive thing that came out was the food pantry that is run out of Brookhaven. Stop and Shop is upping the grant from $5,000 to $7,500. So that way we can help more families. So just some wonderful news coming out of Brookhaven.
Great, thank you.
Nothing.
Ms. Hayes?
I went to the middle school PTA meeting last night, and there was a really good update by Dr. Colson about the activities that had been done with the PTA and the school during the fall. They talked about upcoming activities. One that he did do after the 2-week school break was have an assembly, and they called it a welcome back assembly, in order to discuss expectations and growth. So instead of having a New Year's resolution, it had to do with discussions about how to see positive growth for the individual students as well as each class and the entire school. How can we improve? There's a list of upcoming activities, a sixth grade dance, a family connect night. There was also a discussion about the upcoming assessments and the importance of having participation by all students. So not only does each student have an assessment under, I think it's the NEWA assessment process that allows the teachers to look at the individual components of learning that may need some additional attention for the individual student. And then there's the state assessments that is so important because it goes to the rating that our school district has under using the state data collection. And without having good data, we're not being correctly looked at by the state. So they too are planning a Black History Month in February, and P.S. I Love You as well at the middle school.
Thank you. Byron?
Yeah, I have nothing really to report. I just think it is, I wanted to echo that I think it's a great thing in the superintendent's report to get feedback from our alumni and alumni who may be present. And it might be a good thing just from community building, but also to inform the education, to learn, what is expected in college. And it was great to hear that report.
Yeah, and something I wanted to grow a little bit and get a larger group. This was kind of a spur of the moment conversation, and credit to Samantha DeLillo, who gathered some friends of hers. And the high school did put together a group of seniors. I'm going to be meeting with seniors. So the idea is to meet with the seniors at the end of the school year to get their feedback, and then meet again with them during the winter break to see
I think that's great.
a follow-up.
That's awesome.
So I'm really excited about that. And to Ed's point, I just wanted to, with participation rates and something that was discussed at the middle school PTA meeting, part of the feedback from the alumni was they wanted more test prep. And so for years, like schools, kind of shied away from testing, and testing was almost demonized. But we're kind of judged on our testing. And testing is a part of life, whether you work in the trades, law enforcement, military, and certainly college, there are tests involved. And so at some point, when do we start training our students to really be good test takers? It's part of the education that they need. And for some years, we don't want to over-test students either, I get that. But at a certain point, I think we need to start shifting that mindset back and start giving students the tools necessary to be successful on our assessments. Because certainly there's a lot of room for growth in our assessments, a lot of room for growth. But I don't see that as a criticism of our students or our teachers. We got to do something different. And I think a part of it is the participation rate. And also this kind of mindset, which I get, saying, don't overstress your third grade test or your eighth grade test, because at the end of life, it's inconsequential, right? I don't know if anybody in this room, adult, remembers what they scored when they're in elementary school. But it's a great data point to see where you're at and where you're at compared to other kids in the state. And not just that, why not try your best? Why not try to show us what you know and have some pride in it? So, we're trying to motivate students now at all grade levels to sort of start thinking about testing. And, until 2032, Regents exams are a graduation requirement. So you're gonna be exposed to tests anyway. So,
And to your point, the jobs that you named too, even promotionally, there's tests thereafter.
civil service, this test. So, I'm glad that was brought up at the middle school, but it was also brought up by the alumni.
Yeah, it's,
Can I make one-
when you think of like, my son took the police test, he scored very well on it. And he wasn't a stellar student, but he always took tests, take tests. I don't know the exact stat now, but it's over 60% of graduated high school seniors, I think it's close to 65%, are ineligible for military service. And the number one reason for that is inability to pass the entrance exam to get into the military. There are other issues in that as well, but it's a growing issue across the country, how many kids coming out of high school are ineligible, whether it's fitness or background, whatever else it is, but the number one within those reasons is the entrance exam. Okay, I'm sorry, you had something, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just one other, you may want to consider expanding your target group of alumni to past board members, student board members who are here as well. Because I keep in touch with a few of them on their social media pages to see the remarkable work that they're doing. And one of our members, Mr. Frankie, is a pilot now. as a result of the repeat. And he does a lot of volunteer work with his pilot license, with rescue missions that is really quite admirable.
Amazing.
Actually, before you chime in, one of the things, Tony, that you said that I think is an important part to discuss with folks and what is going on in our schools with the strategic planning meeting tomorrow night. I think it's important to note that so many people are concerned about the rigor and making sure that we're improving as a school district in that area. And I think that's a great reflection, and hopefully a great reflection that the community notices that as an issue and something that needs to be addressed in our district.
Yeah, three priority areas were identified. One is academic excellence, the student experience, and then operations. So that's what we're going to focus on.
Okay. And then just for my part, I just wanted to make a comment. I think one of the first people I met when I started getting active in the school district 14, 15 years ago was Nita Webb. It's just a remarkable woman, and I was blessed to have known her. I count a handful of people that I know in my life who enriched my life by knowing them, and Nita was one of them. And I didn't even know her that well. She cared about, when she met you, and especially when you were involved in the school district, she only cared about what you cared about. What were you going to do for kids? Were you here to make this place better? Did you have an agenda? What was it? And she worked tirelessly. So I was heartbroken when I learned of her passing. She's sorely going to be missed. And, she'd always ask the tough question, but you always knew where you stood with her. And she told you what she felt. She meant what she said what she meant, kind of deal. She was a good person, so she's a real big loss to our community and to our district. So blessings to her family, and I hope she rests in peace. She deserves it. Moving on to item E, public commentary. Now, let me read my little thing here. The calendar, why do we have all of this? I'm sorry, just trying to get rid of the. Okay, the regularly scheduled South Country Central School Board of Education meetings are listed on the district calendar, usually held. The first one, the board encourages comments on agenda and non-agenda items alike, but sets certain guidelines for that discussion. The school community member who wishes to speak must fill out the card. The rear of the room. Board president will only recognize residents or school employees who have completed and submitted a comment card. Comments for each speaker are limited to 3 minutes. There will be no sharing of minutes. Public sessions are limited to 30 minutes in total and continue as long as they are conducted in an orderly fashion. All questions must be directed to the Board of Education and be relevant school district matters. Comments from the audience on any agenda item will be heard after the board superintendent communication announcements. Comments from the audience on non-agenda items will be heard after all the board agenda items are acted on. This is different, right? Sorry. All right, it is a little bit the way it's run. Okay, the South Country Board of Education nor the superintendent of schools will entertain in public comments relating to personnel matter or individual students. Please be aware that both staff and students' privacy are protected under the law. If you have personnel concerns or an issue regarding a staff member or student, please contact the superintendent of schools. Okay? With that being said, I'll be candid. I know what the cards are, all the subjects are here. We're happy to hear all your comments. You can't use the candidate's name, you can't be very specific, so I'll guide you through that. So if I interrupt you, if you're going off the rails, it's not meant to be rude. We just have protocols and procedures we have to follow. So just wanted to make sure everybody's clear on that, okay? So first speaker is Jacob Snedeker. Welcome, you have 3 minutes. I should have pulled one of the adults first.
Maybe.
Yeah, you want me to? Like, you nervous? Because I will.
I'm nervous.
I didn't realize it until I
It's
read
all right.
it, so.
Don't be nervous.
You'll
We're
do
amongst
fine,
friends.
don't worry about it, we're easy.
Alright. I'm here to speak on for the lacrosse program today. I know we've all been thinking about it for who's going to be our head coach this year, and I honestly think that Coach Sip should be our head coach.
Can't say his name, I'm sorry, I got it.
It's alright. No, it's alright. I've been playing lacrosse since 8th grade, and I've had a different coach for the past 4 years. And I think this program deserves a good head coach who knows what he's doing, who knows the game, and knows what to do when people need to be disciplined and on their actions. And I just think we just need a good head coach, somebody who knows the game.
Got it. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Just one other note, if you do run long and you hear a bell, it's a timer, so don't get put off, just keep speaking. Ray Springsteen. Welcome.
How you doing? Lived in this district my entire life. I had the luxury of actually getting a chance to play sports in this district for the specific coach that we're talking about. He's a phenomenal coach. He's a leader. He's genuine. He's passionate. My boys love him. You know, and I was not a lacrosse player, but I've seen this program. I don't even know if I'd call it a program over the last couple of years. It's been pretty embarrassing, actually. I'd like to see the hard work that these boys put in actually mean something. I'd like to see the program take steps in the right direction, and I think every single person in this room will agree that the right guys sit in the back of the room.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want back, or you leaving that there for my reminder? Thank you. Nancy Sipp. Just a reminder, I know it's hard, okay? There's just privacy laws and the attorneys here, so I'm getting in trouble. Just don't mention the name, don't mention the position. We do get, and I think we all know who and what we're talking about, okay? So I think we can kind of make that agreement so you can keep me out of trouble. Thanks. Go ahead, Mrs. Sipp, I'm sorry.
I'm here to support the lacrosse program. We had a great youth program back in the day, which unfortunately for these boys kind of ended with fourth grade. So I feel like there's a large gap between when they were in fourth grade to now, not having consistency. The players that are here today are all travel team players. They want to continue to learn, to grow, and we haven't seen that the last few years. I've been around the program now, the varsity program, for 3 years. It hasn't been consistent, it's been inconsistent, discipline's been inconsistent, the training's been inconsistent. Last year was the first year we started with the Winter League. This year we have a Winter League. The boys need off-season training, which they've never gotten before. We have a great youth program starting up again. I think in a few years, it'll be great again, but I feel like right now, from 7th grade to our seniors, this program has been affected, and we need something positive. Somebody who has experience, can bring things to the table from years of coaching, plenty of boards from coaching. A lot of the parents that are parents of these players are teachers in the district, are friends of ours from the district that have played here, have gone here, have worked here. Many of them, you know, it's conflict of interest to speak sometimes when you are a PTA member. I'm only a community member for 25 years. I've been around all the programs. I think this district is phenomenal. That's why we chose to live here. And we would like to see something positive, follow through, a little more longevity through the program. Hopefully, as a parent of a 7th grader, we have more winter clinics and things like that so that these kids can get better and have people that want to coach, because I know even we're struggling at the middle school level of getting someone to coach this year that might actually have lacrosse experience.
Thank you. Adrian Gascon.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm here on behalf, as an advocate for my son, Alexander. He's a player on the varsity lacrosse team. He had the pleasure to play on the team last year. Like Jacob eloquently said, since 8th grade, I believe, I don't know if you guys had a different coach in 7th grade, but it's been 4 different coaches that he's had. What the most consistent thing is the inconsistency. And as you guys may or may not know, Long Island's a hotbed for lacrosse, and they're playing against some of the best players, and it's been kind of hard to compete. You know what I mean? When the program keeps changing, and you're kind of just finding people. You know, I don't know if you put an ad in the paper. I don't know what it is on the internet, but it's like we're just pulling people off, off their couch, to have them coach. I'm not questioning anybody's experience. I know some of these people have, experience, but it's been rough. It's been rough to watch, and I feel bad for these kids. They're 08 boys, born in 08. When COVID hit, they were in 6th grade. So as they're starting to play school sports, they were dealing with that. They were dealing with that in 7th grade, 8th grade. I remember the coach, great kid. He was a substitute teacher in the middle school, and I don't think he ever touched a lacrosse stick. We had some kind of success with him, and it was fun, and I give him a lot of credit that he stepped up. As Nancy just said, it's been kind of the same thing the past few years in the middle school, just finding people. There's nobody, as you know, we don't have a youth program. So a lot of these kids are touching the stick for the first time in 7th grade. And it's kind of hard. You know, in this sport on Long Island, you're way behind if you're touching the stick in 7th grade from the rest of the kids you're going to be playing against in the schools, the Bayports, the Sayvilles, Connectquots. I mean, the list goes on. If you know anything about the sport, you know how well versed a lot of these kids are, and now, you know, it's such a it's like I said, it's a hotbed Long Island. We're just looking for consistency. Said candidate has tons of experience. I've had the pleasure of knowing said candidate for over 30 years. Just like him, I'm an alumni of this district.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
And I just feel like I've had several, am I allowed to reference him, like saying I've had conversations? No?
Not really.
All right, well, I feel, I respectfully request, I'll just sum it up, I got my 30 seconds left. I respectfully request that, you know, who we're all here for tonight is taken into consideration for the coach and give these kids an opportunity. Most of them are juniors, and just give them an opportunity for consistency.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Moving on to item G, consent agenda for curriculum.
The administration recommends the approval of curriculum items reflected in schedules G1 and G2.
Can I have a motion? Ms. Kavanaugh, seconded by Mr. Lillo. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Moving on to item H, board consent agenda for personnel.
The administration recommends approval of personnel changes reflected in schedules H1 through H9.
Can I have a motion? Mr. Lillo, seconded by Ms. Kavanaugh. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? I'm sorry, Ms. Felice, I didn't get yours.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, I'm sorry. Those against? Abstentions?
Abstention.
Motion carries 5 yes, 1 abstention. Motion carries. Moving on to item I, board consent agenda for business.
The administration recommends approval of business items reflected in schedules I1 through I8.
Can I have a motion?
I9.
Excuse me, I1 through 9. Can I have a motion? Mr. Lillo, seconded by Mr. Barry. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimous. There's no cards for non-agenda items, correct? Any closing remarks from board members?
I just want to acknowledge, first, and I apologize, Hannah. Hannah Casalino is here. She's just a newly appointed music teacher. I think you're somewhere in the audience.
She's there waving in the back.
And since he's here, I can say it out loud now. Congratulations to Coach Step.
Great. If no other comments from trustees, I'll open the floor for motion to adjourn. Ms. Kavanaugh, seconded by Mr. Lillo. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimous. Have a nice night, folks. Stay warm.